Hi, in this video I want to give you a quick look into the first preview version of our new JavaScript schemas. Remember, it's a preview, so some of the things are still subject to change based on our testing and your feedback. So let's create our first JavaScript schema. So I click the create button and I call it the content page. And as you can see down here, you can select the format of your schema. So it's JavaScript as of now. I can also select JSON schemas as we had before, but let's go with the JavaScript schema. And I will create a schema for the content page. So now I have my very first JavaScript schema. And if you are familiar with the schemas in JSON format, you can see that the concepts is very similar. So we have the triggers, we have the routes, and we have the properties. Now, if we look at the properties function down here, you can see that the source entity is passed in and as a parameter. And in this case, I'm just returning all the properties. The same goes for the route function. The source entity is also passed in, so you can access the properties on the source entity. So this schema is actually working. So let's go test it out. And like this. Perfect. So we can see all the properties is returned. That corresponds to the dynamic mapping that we have in JSON schemas with the asterisk. Now let's say I wanted to return something different. So I can create an object here and I want to return a title. And the title is coming from source entity, properties, dot page title. Now this is just a string, so I could do all kind of things that you can do in JavaScript with string manipulation. So I could do to uppercase if I wanted to do that. If I can spell it, to uppercase like this. I'll go ahead and test it. So we see I got my title called Fairy Tales in uppercase. You could also do substrings, string concatenations, and whatever you want to do. Now let's say I also have some keywords. So I want to some keywords here. It's also available from the source entity, properties, but keywords. The keywords that I have, that's an array. So in my case, I want to check if I have any items in the array. And if I have that, I will just render them out as a string with a comma separated string. And if I don't have any keywords, I will render a text called no keywords. So I could do length to check if the length is greater than 0. And if that's the case, then I will render out properties.keywords and I will call the JavaScript method join and just join them with the comma separator. And if I don't have any, I will render out a text called no keywords. So let's go ahead and test that. And we can see I get the value of no keywords because I don't have any values in my keywords array at this point. So this is working. So this is just to showcase that this is just pure JavaScript. You can do whatever you can do in JavaScript. You can do that in the schemas as well. Now this line here is getting a bit long. So if you're familiar with our JSON schemas, you know that we just had a P as a shortcut for properties. So if I wanted to do that in my JavaScript schema, I could simply just create a constant called P. And I would set that to equal to source entity.properties. So now I can go ahead and replace all source entity.properties with just a P. Yes, perfect. Already much better. But actually we could do it even better. I could remove the constant that I have here and just to show you that we also have destructuring available, as you know it from JavaScript. So I could destruct my source entity and just, because in this case I'm only interested in the properties. Perfect. So this is also a way you can work with JavaScript schemas. Another thing that I want to show you is that you could even write private functions. So let's say I had some more business logic or some more complex stuff that I didn't want to have inside my properties function. So I could create a function down here. I could call it map keywords. And I would take in all the properties in this case. And then I could simply just take the snippet up here, join it, like this. And then I could up here call my function map keywords and send in the properties like this. Let's go ahead and test it once again. And we can see it's still working. So this was just a very quick look into how JavaScript schemas look like. If you want to test it out and make sure that we get your feedback before the final release, just reach out to us and we will make sure that you get a JavaScript enabled tenant.